everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, nice to have you. Today I'll be reviewing the new Smashbox Skin Balancing Foundation with Hyaluronic Acid and Adaptogens. If you're interested in hearing my thoughts, please keep on watching. Now before we go on to the video, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please click on the subscribe button so you don't miss more videos like this. So like I said, we are going to be reviewing the new Smashbox Skin Balancing Foundation. For their 24-hour oil-free Hydra Foundation, a few years ago, I had tried purchasing one of the shades, the shade 4.2, but I didn't like how it looked on me. It looked too neutral on me. And I decided that I was going to go with the shade 4.25. I'd seen a video of someone who had the same complexion as me try on the shade 425 and it worked well for her, so I thought, okay, maybe that'll be my shade. Now while I try to purchase this one, the new foundation, on your website there's a chart where you can see the shades for the Hydra foundation, the oil-free Hydra foundation, and then their equivalent in the new foundation. So if you wear 4.25 in the Hydra foundation, your shade in the new foundation will be T10N. The foundation comes in this box. Like I said, I purchased the shade T10N. It's just a regular white box. It comes in a bottle and it also has a pump. Now let's read about the foundation on Ulta's website. This is the Smashbox Always On Skin Balancing Foundation with Hyaluronic Acid plus Adaptogens. Comes in 30 shades and it's $45 on Ulta's website. This is a vegan and cruelty-free foundation. Provides instant 24-hour hydration and oil control. Is infused with Smashbox Balance Boost Complex, which features hyaluronic acid for instant and 24-hour hydration that helps skin work like an automatic thermostat to balance levels of oil and hydration. This has a buildable formula and delivers medium to full coverage. It has a natural looking finish, visibly even skin tone, reducing the appearance of redness, blemishes, and imperfections. It's a primer infused for 16-hour color through wear. It won't cake, flake, or streak for 16 hours. Water, sweat, humidity, crease, settle, and transfer resistant. It helps protect skin from environmental aggressors like pollution and blue light. Try with Smashbox, the original photo finish smooth and blur primer, Smashbox Halo Healthy Glow 4-in-1 Perfecting Pen, and Smashbox Photo Finish Endurance Breathable Setting Spray. I would say this foundation is primer infused, so what I'm going to do today is apply the foundation just by itself to one side of my face, and I'm going to apply the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer to the other side of my face before applying the foundation. I also bought a set of the primer and setting spray, which we're going to use today as well. Now I'm not going to color correct because I want to see, or I'd like to see if the foundation can cover the dark areas around my mouth. For this side of my face, I'm going to be using a brush. That's one pump. This is what it looks like. It's runny, but not super runny. It looks very neutral to me. We're gonna work with what we have. It doesn't smell like skincare, it smells like medicine, like a drug. I'm not a fan of the smell, so I'm going in with another layer. That first layer covered a lot on my face. So this is a primer infused foundation. You don't need to go in with primer, but I'm just trying to see the difference between wearing a primer with it and not. This foundation sits on the skin flawlessly. Regardless of the grayness I'm seeing on my skin, I am liking the finish of the foundation. It has a very natural finish. Even with the full coverage, I really like it. I really like it. Now, I don't know why it's gray. I don't know if I need to go find another shade that's not going to be gray on my skin, but for now, this foundation, I like it. Okay, so this is how it looks without a primer. This versus just my skin, and I haven't applied the foundation here, so like you can tell it's gray, but it's not looking so bad. So now I'm gonna go ahead and apply the foundation on this side where I have the Smashbox primer. So I have my sponge now. I'm gonna use that to apply. I'm done applying the foundation on both sides of my face. Remember, I applied the foundation without a primer on my left side and with a primer on my right side. Seriously, there's not much of a difference, but for me, I think the side without a primer is more radiant and more flawless than the side with the primer. And I also use a sponge on the side. The sponge kind of saturated the product, but on this side I get the full effect of the foundation. I like the flawless look I am getting. They said the foundation is medium to full coverage, which is true. I was able to build it up from a medium to full coverage, as you can see. And around my mouth, it did a very good job covering the dark areas. I can see some dark areas, but it's just very minimal. Now, this is one of the foundations that has done a very good job covering my mouth area where I have some hyperpigmentation. It feels very natural, very hydrating too. I don't feel any tightness whatsoever. Remember, I have normal to dry skin. The foundation was very easy to blend. While applying it on my face, it felt very lightweight. It didn't feel like I was applying a thick product onto my face. Regardless of the gray pigment in the foundation that I'm seeing, probably because it's a neutral shade, so maybe a warm or golden shade would better suit me. I think if I get my right shade, it's going to look even better. So the first time I checked for the foundation in store, the Ulta near where I live didn't have it. So after doing the review, I had to go to the store. I think I went to get some other things, and then as I was looking around, I realized they now had the foundation in store, but they didn't have all the shades. The shade I really wanted to try out was T20W, but unfortunately for me, they didn't have that in store, so I had to just try the darker shades they had. I had to get a sample of 2 of the shades that seemed to match me, and I'm going to swatch them. The shades I got are T20N and D10W. So this is the shade T20N, that's T20 neutral, and D10W. Now this is obviously a little bit dark for me, and this seems to, I don't know, seems like it will match me better. It's a warm shade, so I'm going to just try this. I already applied the shade D10W. I don't have a foundation here, and I have a foundation here, so I'm just going to add another layer. So I'm done applying the shade D10W, and this is what it looks like. I think it's a much better shade than the T10N, but I still see, I don't know, I still see that ashy tint, that grayish tint, but it's not as much in the warm shade. This is a warm shade, and it also has some of the grayish tint in it, so just a heads up. It's a much better shade, but for me, I think I can go a little bit lighter, just a tad bit lighter, because I have a tan now. They didn't have T20W in my store. I really want to try that shade, and then I'll know which shade to really go with. But for now, this is what D10W looks like. Now I'm going to go ahead and complete the rest of my face and then come back and show you how it looks. Okay, I just realized I hadn't done a transfer test, so I'm just going to use tissue paper. Okay, so now I have some transfer. Yeah, so that's the transfer I got. So you get just a minimal amount of transfer. I am done with the foundation and the rest of my makeup, and this is how it turned out. I remember the side without the primer and the side with the primer. Without the primer and with the primer. I used the e.l.f. 16-hour Camo Concealer in matte finish to conceal my under eye. This is in the shade Deep Chestnut. And I used my Dermablend Loose Setting Powder in the shade Warm Saffron to set my under eye. To set all over my face, I use the Laura Mercier Ultra Blow Translucent Loose Setting Powder. This is in the shade Translucent Medium Deep. To bronze, I use the MAC Skin Finish Sunstruck Matte Bronzer in the shade Matte Rich Rosy. That's one. For blush, I use the Pat McGrath Labs Blush Without Caution. This is her Divine Blush Duo. This is the purple shade or the lavender shade. And then to spray my face, I use the Smashbox Photo Finish Endurance Breathable Setting Spray. For my lips, I just used a burgundy liner and a lip balm. So I like this foundation already because of how flawless it looks on my skin, and the coverage is really beautiful. You can achieve a medium to full coverage with this foundation, and it was able to cover my hyperpigmented area around my mouth. So besides the color and the smell, which is already growing on me, I think I'm fine for now. But I'd like to do a wear test. Let's see how this holds up after a few hours. So the time now is 2:12 p.m. so I am going to go about my day and come right back, show you how it looks, and give you my final thoughts. So don't go anywhere. So guys, I am back, and this is how I'm looking after about 6 hours of wear. The time now is 8:19 p.m. Now let me tell you about the weather here where I live in Massachusetts. It's been like 81 degrees all day. I'm saying this because the weather also affects the foundation wear. So as you can see, I have oil, especially around my T-zone, on my nose, side of my nose and forehead. I also have some oil around my chin area too. And then where I applied blush, I can see some oil coming through around that area. Now I can attribute that to the weather, but even then, the reason why I'm stressing on this is because the brand claims that the foundation provides an instant 24-hour hydration and oil control. It's not as if I have oily skin type. I have normal to dry skin. The oil I'm having is what I would expect to have when I wear most foundations. This is just 6 hours and I am busting with oils already. So I don't know about that claim, but for the fact that the foundation is a buildable formula, yes, you can build it from medium to full coverage. Absolutely, it is true. The claim that it's very hydrating is 100% true, because right from application I could tell it's a very hydrating product. Maybe it's the fact that it's super hydrating that's making me produce more oil. But I've tried several hydrating products on my channel, and I've had oil at the end of the day, oil around my T-zone at the end of the day. But I was expecting more from this. Now it says it visibly evens skin tone. True, very true. Remember I told you the area around my mouth, which is always very difficult for foundation to cover. This foundation covered it. It didn't cover it completely, but I can tell it covered it better than most foundations usually do. I love the finish of the foundation, and I can not stress that enough. It says it is water, sweat, humidity, crease, settle, and transfer resistant. Now this foundation has a lot of claims. Well, I can say it's transfer resistant, but there was some transfer after I blotted on my face area, but it was just a minimal amount of transfer. Now sweat, I have had some activity throughout the time I started my wear test up until now, and I felt hot. I just felt hot, that was all. And then crease, I don't see any creasing around my mouth area or my forehead. Now did it oxidize? No, the foundation did not oxidize. Yeah, it didn't oxidize. The shade I purchased is T10N. They have T10W. W stands for warm. It says 10 with a warm undertone. But the model here looks lighter than me. This doesn't look like she's my shade twin. And this is a model wearing T20W. So I think this one, yeah, she's close to my skin tone. So if I search for the foundation again, I think I'm going to try a warmer shade, since the neutral is super neutral. I also have cool undertones, so I think that one would be red or even more neutral for me. Now I'm going to try to reapply some powder. As you can see, it looks almost as good as new. Now I like the foundation, and I really like it, like I said earlier, because it gives my skin a very flawless look. It has a very natural looking finish, It gives you full coverage without being cakey or looking masky. Most of the claims are true. For me, I thought the oil control claim was just not true for me. I don't know how it works on other people's skin. It just didn't work for me. Now for a future video, I'll be reviewing the Maybelline Skin Tint. There's a new skin tint by Maybelline and I think it's a very beautiful product. So if you don't want to miss that video, please subscribe to my channel if you haven't. If you have any questions about the foundation, please leave them in the comment section below. If this is your first time on my channel, I hope you consider subscribing. To my returning subscribers, thank you guys so much for your continuous support. Until my next video, have a blessed night and stay safe.